Okay, listen.
Hmm.
You need to talk, not like you're teaching for one class. You can't say Planet Granite, or you just say, hey guys, I'm Johnny, thanks for coming to my virtual Zoom. Super excited. Okay. Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay, go over there.
What's that?
Who knows? Close. Okay, go. I want to make sure that, see it's, you want to make sure there's volume.
And then make sure like we can see each other laying down.
Okay, you can start talking if you want.
Okay. Hey guys. We'll get started here soon. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. Obviously, my name is Johnny. Some of you in this virtual session are new to me. So we're going to be doing some Kinstretch. With Kinstretch, it's best served if we have a couple props. If you don't have any of these, this class is designed to where we don't need any. But if you're at home right now and you have access to a block, like a yoga block, usually we use two. You may need one or two. If not, take like a throw pillow or any type of pillow will suffice. And then tennis balls are a nice option as well.
Someone tell Johnny he's muted.
Or, am I muted?
Is that Johnny?
Is that James?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Noah.
Thanks, Noah and James. My wife's right on it.
Unmute.
So we'll get the, can
Hold
you guys
on.
hear me now?
No. Unmute.
Just give us a second.
It won't.
You unmuted this. Stay muted.
Stay. No, unmute. Now try.
Why can't I hear all these guys?
Because I had them all. Mute. Okay, now go try and talk. I think you can talk now.
Alright, can you guys hear me now? We have you muted, so just go like thumbs up if you hear me. Awesome. Alright, so I'm probably going to give like another couple minutes just to let people log in. But if you didn't hear me obviously before, this is a Kinstretch class. So if you're new to Kinstretch, it's a mobility practice. If you have access to a couple of these yoga blocks at home, that's a great tool, as well as two tennis balls. If you don't have any of these at home, don't stress. All you really need is maybe a pillow. I would prefer probably like a little bit of a thicker pillow, like a throw pillow. Will be probably the best option there. And actually, I'll grab one just in case. So maybe something like this. Maybe a throw pillow like this.
I just muted you. Can you come see what's happening over here?
1 second, guys. Because it's on a funky setting.
Get it off.
Must have hit something. Take that off and just go live. There. That's it.
It's really dark. Oh, there we go.
All right. Just give us a few more minutes. We'll get going. And I'll remind you of those things I mentioned.
They can't hear you, honey, until I unmute you.
Okay.
So don't talk like you're talking to... This is what matters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to unmute you, so you might want to go through that again. Quickly.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to remind you guys a few things. I'm Johnny. Kinstretch with Johnny, and so great mobility practice here. If you've never done it or heard of it, it's definitely not a household name yet, but it will be, because this stuff is amazing. If you're at home and you have access to yoga blocks, that's a nice tool for this method, as well as 2 tennis balls. We don't really need much besides those 2 things. If you don't have either one of those, throw pillow would be a good option for today. We might need to prop our butt up with it and other things. Otherwise, we're going to get going here in a little bit. I'll explain what Kinstretch is real quick. Kinstretch is a movement practice, and I'm not going to dive into all the details of what it is, but it's essentially we're strength training our joints. And there's going to be 3 phases to the class. The first phase is going to be these things called CARs. CAR stands for Controlled Articular Rotations, and that's where we're going to be doing circular patterns with each joint, trying to isolate them the best that we can. We're going to start from head to toe. It takes about 20 minutes. It's a great way to warm up our joints to then load them with isometric contractions. So the second phase is going to be this end range strength training stuff, and we're going to be getting into some like deep passive stretches, hold them for a little bit longer, and then we're going to add some isometric contractions and some different variations there. And then the last and final phase is always a nice way to finish off. We're going to do some breath work. So since a lot of us are probably unusually stressed at these times, we're going to be doing some good breath work at the end. And then that'll complete the class. So this class will be about an hour and 15 today. So I hope you guys can make it. If you have to dive out sooner, I totally understand. Some of you are still actually working. A couple things we need to know before we dive into Kinstretch. Hold on one second here.
Wow. We told people to text me if they had problems, but you're using my phone. So
Okay, no worries.
it's okay.
All right, so sorry about that. So a couple things you need to know about class before we dive in, especially if you've never done this. One is we have a thing called closing and open angle joint discomfort or open angle joint pain. So what that means is there are areas where you might have some pain in your range of motion in your joints. And so with this system, we never want to force or grind through those. It's only going to make things worse. It's like a red flag in our system. So I'll give you an example with the first move that we're going to do. Closing angle joint is where we shorten the tissue, okay? So that's the direction in which we're going. So for the first move, we're doing a cervical car. So when I go chin down and I rotate, this is the shortened tissue, so it's shortening. This is the lengthening side or the open angle side. If you get like a pinching sensation, any type of pain like that, we suggest never force through that. Always come out of that range of motion. We want to be in pain-free ranges of motion. So with that being said, if you did feel that closing angle joint here on the side, when you rotate it, just kind of come out of it a little bit and then continue on, because these cars are still really valuable to do for our joints. We just have to modify, okay? On the open angle side, so let's say I rotated, but I felt like some discomfort here on the lengthened tissue. That's a green flag in our system to go. Not too concerned about it, but definitely something to monitor and kind of like think about what's going on. So when we do these cars in the beginning, they're a great self-assessment tool, because you'll feel areas in your body that are like kind of saying, hey, something's going on there. So don't be alarmed. If you do have a closing angle joint, you want to problem solve this stuff or talk to someone, feel free to reach out to me after class. Otherwise, there's another thing in this class that's valuable. It's called body irradiation. So if we were all at home going to handshake our hand, your left hand is receiving tension, your right hand is going to be the giver of tension. So go ahead and do that at home. If you're going to just use these intrinsic muscles of your right hand and just lightly squeeze your left hand, you're probably not going to get too much effort into that hand, right? Very little tension. If we were to now brace our forearm or bicep and that right shoulder and give a little bit more squeeze on that left hand, you're going to have a little bit more strength, right? And then the third and final phase, to really kind of understand what body irradiation is, I want you guys to draw your abs in, squeeze your butt if you're standing, root your feet through the ground, create tension throughout your whole body, and try to crush your left hand. Okay, that's body irradiation at its max effort. So we're using every ounce of energy in our body to assist in that right hand squeeze. So I'll use that example as we go into class, the handshake example, because you will be more successful at recruiting your whole body in certain efforts that we're doing. So even though it may be a single joint, we want to get the whole body involved to really maximize that contraction, okay? Otherwise, that pretty much explains what we're going to do. Let's start off with those cars. So I'm going to do in a seated position. You guys are more than welcome to do these things standing. If you do Kinstretch already, choose a position that best serves you. But you guys can be in a tall kneel if you like. I'm just going to sit on a couple blocks. If you have a pillow, that's fine. If you have tennis balls at home, this is where we want to use that handshake example. So When we do cars, we want to think that we're doing about 30 to 50% of our max effort irradiating through our body. And that's just nice to do before we do a class. It's just going to prepare our joints a little bit more. So if I were to have the tennis balls out, if you don't have tennis balls, just make fists. And what you're going to do is you're going to try to think 50% squeeze on those tennis balls and send that tension or that irradiation throughout your body, abs drawn in. We're going to start with the head. Okay, so this is cervical spine. So what we're trying to do is isolate this joint only. When we do cars, we don't want any other body part to move. We want to go slow and controlled. Do not race your sections, okay? This is your first time doing this. Don't stress. It takes practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a breath in, exhale, think 50% squeeze on your tennis balls or fists. You're going to make a double chin. So kind of retract your head back, make a double chin. We're going to slowly draw our chin down until we can't go anymore. And then what we're going to do is we're going to rotate our chin to the left, traveling along that collarbone. When you can't rotate anymore, you're going to slowly side bend your ear. We're then going to extend back left. And we're creating a nice, slow, controlled circle, extending to the right. We're going to rotate and bend simultaneously to the right. Travel that chin back to the starting position and reverse. So you're going to rotate to the right, side bend. Extend. Extend to the opposite side. Rotating, bending, travel to the center. Let's do it one more time. So we're going to rotate along that collarbone until you have nothing left. Side bend to the left, extend. Extend to the right. Rotating. Chin back to the center and reverse. So rotate. Side bend. Extend. Extend to the other side. Round it out to the center. Good. That's your cervical spine. So now we're going to do the thoracic and lumbar. So that's the rest of your spine. That's a big portion from your shoulders all the way down to your lumbar. And so when we do this, the hips are going to want to get involved. So if you're in this kind of tall kneel position, this is nice. If you're standing, just try to keep your hips out of it. So if we fill the room full of cement from the waist down is cemented in like a statue. We're going to cross our arms on this one. And this move is very similar to what we just did with the cervical in terms of that circular pattern. We're going to take a breath in, we're going to exhale, we're going to create that 50% effort, and then we're going to segment our spine low to high. So think you're going to flex or round your spine from low to high. Think you're kind of walking up your spine, trying to get one vertebrae at a time to flex. And then you're going to hit a roadblock when you can't go anymore. If you're standing up, do not let your hips shift back. From here, we're going to rotate as much as we can to the left. And then we're going to do this little side bend. So we're laterally flexing. Then we're going to extend back left. This is where the hips are going to want to come forward, so do not allow that to happen. So we're extending. And then we're extending to the other side. As you extend, too, you're walking up your spine through extension. Think one vertebrae at a time. Then we're going to rotate and bend simultaneously to the right. And then we're going to keep this second turn kind of tight as we come back to that center position. And then we're going to reverse. So we're going to rotate to the right. Squeeze it out. Side bend.
Okay, I see him.
Extend. Extend back left. Rotate. Wrap that baby around. Into the center. And let's do it one more time. So let's start up tall. Let's get a little bit more flexion if we can. So breath in, exhale, squeeze, and flex one vertebrae at a time. Think low to high here. Into a rounded position. Rotate to the left. Side bend. Extend. Extend to the right. Rotate right. Wrap that baby around to the center and reverse. We're going to rotate, squeeze, side bend. Really try to keep your hips out of it if you're standing up, everyone. Extend to the left. We have good tension still, 50% effort. Wrap that baby center, nice and tall. So if you did that, you should feel some good work there in your core muscles all the way around. Okay, next is going to be scapula. And so scapula are those wings, those triangle wings on your back there. A lot of us have a hard time disassociating that between our shoulders. So this might be tough for some of you. I'm going to do a side profile so you can see. The easiest way to do this is if just have your arms straight down your legs, or if you're in this position, just straight down. If you're standing up, glue your middle finger to like the seam of your legs there. if you can. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a continuous circle here. So we're going to have stiff arms the whole time. They do not bend, okay? We're going to draw those shoulders up to our ears. We're going to squeeze those shoulder blades back around our spine. That's called retraction. We're now going to drop them as if we had back pockets. So drop them to your back pockets. That's depression. We're then going to round forward. So this is protraction. Try not to let your head dip forward. So then we're going to continue through here. So let's try to smooth out those edges. So up, back, down, forward. One more time on this one. Up, back, down, forward. We're going to reverse it, everyone. We're going to squeeze back, up, forward, protract, depress, down to your back pockets, squeeze around your spine, up, forward, down, back. Let's do one more. I love these. Up, forward, down, back. Good. So now we're going to do our shoulder. If we're to stand up in my shot. Okay, you guys can see me. Actually, I'll do this seated down. I just want to make sure that I'm in the shot here. We're going to do our shoulder joint. We call it our glenohumeral joint, though. So ball and socket's got 6 motions. A lot of motions going on here. We're going to do our right side first. And so with this, you can make fists or have like an open palm. I assume probably not everyone has tennis balls at home, so I'll do it without tennis balls. Make a fist with your left hand. We want to send that tension up and around through the rest of our body. I want your right palm facing the front. Stiff arm the whole time when you do this. Slowly draw that arm up across the midline of your body. You're going to feel a stretch on the outer part of your shoulder. That's your row block. Do not bend your elbow. Slowly draw your arm up into flexion. So flexion here, everyone, is wrist is in line with shoulder. This is not flexion. This is not flexion. So find your row block wherever that may be. Do not extend your spine. So try to keep your rib cage down. From here, if you had an X with a Sharpie drawn on your bicep, I want you to turn that X all the way to the right. So whole arm rotates to the right. So don't just think wrist. Whole arm rotates. From here, we're going to slowly draw that arm back, and then we're going to continue to rotate like we're wringing out a wet towel. When you do this, do not let your spine rotate. And then you're going to extend. And then you're going to slowly draw the arm to the side of your leg. So if you did this properly and you rotated, knuckles should face the side of your leg or your body. That's half a rep. Let's reverse. You're going to extend back. So true extension is in line with your shoulder, not off to the side. You're going to hit a row block. You then spiral your whole arm out. Lead back up. Keep that arm stiff. Find your high point. From here, externally rotate the arm. Palm faces ceiling. Cross your chest. Lower back down your side. That's one rep. Let's do one more. So up, cross. No rotation with your spine. Slowly draw up. Find your high point. Don't extend the spine. Keep the rib cage down. Whole arm rotate. Squeeze it out. Rotate. Draw it back. Keep extending that arm. Keep rotating the arm. Knuckles to the side of your body and reverse. Extend. Find your row block. Spiral out. Keep tension with your left arm. Draw it up. Find that high point. We're trying to make a big circle. Palm faces ceiling. Cross your chest. Down to the side. Good job, everyone. Let's do the left arm. Fists with the right arm. Left palm faces the front. Keep it stiff. We come up. We cross. We lead up to our high point. Shoulder flexion. Whole arm rotates as if you had the X. You're trying to turn it out. Rotate the arm as you draw it back. Remember that wet towel analogy? You're wringing it out. Deep ball and socket stuff. Knuckles face the side of your body, reverse. Extend. Find your row block. Twist out. Lead back up. Find your high point. Externally rotate arm. Palm faces ceiling. Cross your chest and back down. Let's do one more. So we come up. We cross. Lead up to your high point. Shoulder flexion. Keep the rib cage down. Whole arm rotates out, not just wrist. Wring it out. Squeeze it out a little bit more if you can. Keep the tension in your right arm. Knuckles face the side of your leg. Reverse. Extend. Spiral out. Lead back up. Do not race through sections. Palm faces ceiling. Cross and down. Good. So that's a good example of doing both arms. Some of you at home may feel some asymmetries, right? Something's going on maybe on this side. This side's a little bit better, okay? That stuff's totally normal. It's just a story about yourself, okay? But those are good things to address going forward. Maybe you need to work on some of those issues. We're going to go to the next joint. You guys are doing great. So now we're going to do elbows and wrist. So elbow is a hinge joint, and so most of us think it doesn't really rotate, but it does rotate small degrees, 5 to 10 degrees. Your elbows rotate with assistance of your wrists. And so we're going to do a thing called supination and pronation. So if you had your arms stiff out, so palms face away from you, and you were to have your elbows kind of glued to the side of your rib cage, this is supination. So if I draw my thumbs outwardly, what I'm doing is I'm rotating my radius bone into my elbow. Okay? When I pronate the opposite way, I'm now rotating the elbow the other way. When you do this, try not to dump your elbow crease. So the elbow crease should be facing the front the whole time. Now I want you to imagine, like, in the space that you're in right now, it's dense. So when we do these movements, it's dense air. You should feel biceps and triceps engaging. Stiff arms, rotate those thumbs outwardly. Slowly flex your arms up. You should feel bicep. It's dense air. Palms will finish slightly outside of shoulders. That's your end range there. We're now going to pronate, so palms down as much as you can. Slowly extend all the way back down to full extension. Good. We're going to do it again. So supinate, draw those thumbs out, slowly flex up against that dense air. Pronate, and then slowly extend down. When we get down to the bottom end here, we're going to keep our hands pronated, and we're going to go back up. So up, keep the hands pronated. Up top, we now supinate those wrists, and then we slowly extend back down. Keep that tension. Pronate, up, supinate, and down. Great job. That's your elbows. So now wrist. I find that wrist is probably the hardest for a lot of you because most of us have never really isolated our wrists. So we're going to do one arm at a time. I feel like that's more successful for people. So if you just had like your right arm glued to your side, your forearm is parallel to the floor. Imagine like you had a splint on the back of your hand, so we're not going to cup our palms. We're not going to flex or dinosaur our fingers. We don't want any of that. So stiff hand, like you have a pancake there. It's a pancake hand. So I like to take my left hand and I like to brace pretty hard around my right wrist. When we do this, the palm faces up at the ceiling the whole time. We keep those stiff fingers. We're going to do a continuous circle here, 2 to 3 of them, and we'll reverse. So bring your pinkies in, draw them down. We're going to create a circle here. Go out to the side, look at your hand, see what you're doing, come up and around. We're going to continue through the circle. Most of you at home, if you've never done this, I would rather you decrease your range of motion or your circle so it doesn't look real sloppy and all over the place. Okay, we don't want any movement going on except for that wrist. Nice and slow. You might feel like your movement is chunky or kind of wavy. That's totally normal. Over time, we want fluidity. We want smooth circles. It just takes practice. Let's reverse it. So let's go out with the thumbs, down and around, nice and slow. Think of that 1 mile per hour cadence. So when we do these cars, I didn't address this, but slower is better. It's just going to engage so much more activation in our joints. It's called mechanoreceptors. Lots of cool stuff happens physiologically in our joints when we go slower. And let's switch. So let's go to the left wrist. Pancake hand. Brace. In with the pinky. Down and around. Nice and slow. If you have to, again, decrease your circle for good isolation. We don't want compensatory movements, everyone. Our body is smarter than us, and it likes to cheat movement. So the goal of this is we're trying to clean up our movement patterns with our joints. And so we really want the best isolation possible. Let's reverse it. Out, down, and around. This should feel a little crampy for some of you at home. Totally normal stuff. Maybe you have some Rice Krispie action going on. Let's do one more. Excellent. I'm great with that. Okay, so now we're going to go to our next joint. We're going to do our hip. Hip is like the shoulders, ball and socket. It's got big range of motion. I'm going to do it, normally we do this standing up. It's not the most conducive setup here. We're going to do it in a sideline position. So if you have like a pillow for your head or a block, that might work out good for you. Let's have everyone do, we'll do our right hip to start. Okay, so if you're in a sideline position and your head's resting, what I want you to do is I want you to rest your head, pull your knees in, clasp hands. Clasp hands is that handshake. So you want to anchor your upper body. We're only isolating this top hip. There's an imaginary line or a rod going down from your top hip to your bottom hip. So that means you cannot shift or spill your hips backwards or forwards. We're going to try to create a big circle here. So try to follow with me. Right knee comes into your right chest or armpit as much as you can. That's called hip flexion. Draw your knee up towards the ceiling. That's abduction. You're going to feel a roadblock. Don't go any further where your hips spill back. From there, we're going to roll our femur. So we're going to rotate our hip in so the knee kind of stays there as the heel goes up. Then we're going to keep that bent leg. We're going to then drive our heel back. Don't let the hips spill back. And we're going to go into hip extension. We're going to squeeze your butt. You should feel a good butt squeeze. And that's your end range. Then you're going to slowly draw that top knee to your bottom knee. That's half a rep. Let's reverse it. Keep the tension with your upper body. Hinge, press back. Elevate. Drive back into your chest. Down and around. Okay, that's a hip car. Let's do it again. Knee to chest. Elevate to the ceiling. Rotate that hip. Work through that section there. That's usually the hardest one for most of you. So try not to race through sections. Down and around to your bottom knee and reverse. So hinge and press back. Elevate to the ceiling. Knee to chest. Down and around. Switch sides. Okay, you're on your other side. We're moving along here. Whew. Normally I don't do the whole workout. Normally I instruct us, so this is nice. Nice change. I get a workout with you guys. So let's go left side. There's that imaginary rod. Knee to chest. Keep the tension with your upper body. Slowly draw your knee up. Find your roadblock. That's abduction. Rotate the hip. Work through that section. Slowly drive your heel back. Keeping that bent leg the way it is. Circle down to your bottom knee and reverse. So hinge and press back. Elevate up. Knee to chest. Down and around. And let's do it one more time, everyone. So knee to chest. Elevate. Rotate. Drive back. Squeeze. And down. Reverse. Hinge back. Elevate. Up. And around. Great job. The next one we're going to do is going to be our knee. We have knee, ankle, and toes. So when we do knee, remember knee and elbow are hinge joints, but they do rotate. So in this position, what I like people to do is kind of associate what's going on here. So we're going to do our right leg. If you have a hard time bending your left leg like this, then just keep your left leg straight. That's totally cool. Otherwise, take your hands on the either side of your right leg here where your shin is and your calf, and flex your right toes to your face so everything's on your heel. I want you to see, like if you were to rotate your foot in, you're going to see that this tibia bone or your shin bone here rotates. And if you rotate it out, you should see a little rotation there too. So that's the goal of this, is we're trying to get rotation from ankle to knee, not just ankle. The mistake that people do is they just kind of rotate their ankle and they're not actually getting any movement up here. So the intent is to drive it all the way up to your knee. From here, we're going to do our knee car. So there's two arm strategies here. One is you can hook underneath your right knee, and you can just do like a clasp hand and then lean back. That might be easiest for some of you. Otherwise, there's an arm bar effect. So if you had your right arm hooked under, take your right hand on your left bicep. Then you take your left hand above your right knee on the quad part, not on the knee, because we want to rotate that, right? So bring it up. So just choose the arm strategy that best serves you. Now imagine like this bottom half of your leg is in a slot, so your leg cannot go side to side. It's in a linear path when we do this. So we're going to rotate that right foot in as much as we can. Connect to your knee there if you can, all the way up. Then we're going to slowly extend our foot up as high as we can. If you're real flexible, try to stop shy of full extension. Then from here, we're just going to rotate the bottom half of our leg out to the right. Then you're going to slowly flex back down, keep it in that slot, back to the starting position. Okay, that's what it is. Let's do it again. So rotate the bottom half in, extend up, squeeze it. Try to get another degree. Rotate out, flex back down. Let's keep the foot out and go back up. So up, in, down. Do it again. So out, elevate up, in, down. Great. Let's go to the other leg. So left leg, we're going to hook under. Choose your arm strategy that best serves you. Either a clasped hand, arm bar. If you're doing the arm bar, your left hand grabs your right bicep. Yep, left hand grabs right bicep, right hand above your left knee, lean back. Rotate that bottom half of your leg in. Elevate it up. Find your end range extension. Rotate it out. Keep it in the slot as you flex back down. In, up, out, down. Keep it out. Come back up. In, down. One more. Out, up, in, down. Great job. Let's go back to our right side. We're going to do ankles now. So you notice that the tibia was helping with the knee. Now we want that quiet. We don't want it to move. So this is like if you were to hook underneath your right leg again, just kind of grab like around your left forearm. Have your left hand just to block out the shin now. Elevate the foot, just like the wrist. We're going to create a nice circle. Let's go clockwise. So you're going to go, let's go, yeah, up, in with the toes, and then down and around. So when you do this, try not to get the tibia to move. Try to relax your toes. That's probably the hardest part with this one. And try not to race through sections. So this one's going to probably feel for a lot of you at home a little more chunky movement. Okay, a little wavy. I still get that. You just have to slow it down the best that you can. Try to have the same cadence all the way around. Reverse it, other way. Nice and slow circles. One more. Good, let's switch it. So hook underneath your left knee. Left hand grabs the right forearm, block out that left shin. Clockwise circles to start. Connect to your ankle only. Try to relax your toes. And reverse, other way. And relax. Good. So I'm going to stand up on this one. If you're at home, you could just slide your heels down toward your toes. Actually, let's just do it that way. So if you're sitting down, you can do this standing up, by the way. If you were to lean back and just slide your heels back right to where the ball of your foot hits, that's where you want to stop. Okay? And then from there, we're going to keep the balls of the foot down as we do our toe cars. So I always tell people when they first do toe cars, if you've never done this before and you're unable to get isolation in your toes, don't be frustrated. Obviously, we wear shoes that are coffins to our feet and they disable movement. So just the connection of looking down and trying to attempt movement is so important. It's better than nothing. We're just trying to get our central nervous system to reconnect to what's going on down there. So don't be frustrated if you can't do it. The most important toe movement we're going to do first. Lift up both big toes up only. Keep the outer four down. Okay? Lower down.
We can't see your toes.
Oh, you can't? Okay. Can you see them here? Well.
Yep. Great. Thank you.
Okay. So both big toes up. Thanks, James. Down. Both big toes up. Down. And let's do it one more time since you didn't see it. So both big toes up. Good. Keep your big toes down and elevate the outer four now. Now when you do this, don't let your arches dump in. Lower down. Outer four up. Down. Outer four up. Down. Raise all the toes up now, everyone, and lower just the big toes down. Up. Big toes down. Up. Big toes down. Up. Outer four down. Up, outer four down, up, outer four down, up. Last one. Spread your toes like you're trying to see gaps in between your toes. Go little toe, and then work your way in like a piano. So one piano key at a time. till you get to your big. So we go up, we spread, we strike our little, we work our way to the big. One more time. Up, spread, little to big. Great job. That completes the cards, everyone. So I always tell people this, if this is your first time doing this and you never do Kinstretch again, no offense, but I will tell you that this is really the foundation of Kinstretch and the system in which we teach. Our joints love rotation, and unfortunately a lot of systems out there they just don't do enough rotation, and so we have linear deficits. So if there's anything you take away from this class, these rotational patterns are so valuable, and so if you need examples of these, we can talk afterwards. Okay, so that completes the cars. Now we're ready to work. So now we're going to do some end range strength training. We're going to be doing some bent leg hip flexion stuff. So a lot of us I know are probably sitting down more than usual. So we're going to kind of strengthen our hip flexors there, and then we're going to be doing some other things in a 90-90 position. We're going to do more of like a hip focused class. So what we're going to do is you're going to be in a supine position. So supine is just lying on your back. You can have a pillow for your head. Okay, so this one's pretty basic. So everyone should be able to do this. So if you're on your back, we're going to work the right leg first. So what you're going to do is you're going to have your left leg straight, and then you're going to grab your right shin with both hands, and you're just going to pull it in to your chest. And so what we're going to do here is we want to achieve a stretch here on the outer part of your hip. Ideally, we want the knee in line with the hip. So if you try to get to your end range and you feel kind of like that closed and angled joint discomfort that I was telling you guys about, a pinching sensation, you're better served decreasing your range of motion here, okay? So obviously it's different when I'm doing virtual. You guys need to manage yourselves appropriately. I don't know what's going on with your body, so if you are feeling like a pinching sensation, just kind of come out of that. Otherwise, we want to try to pull that knee into our right chest as much as we can into end range. We want to keep our left sit bone down and even kind of lightly actively draw the back of your left knee to the floor. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hang out here for a couple minutes. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to do a passive stretch first. And the passive stretch first, what it does is it temporarily opens up new range of motion. Okay? And then what we do is we use isometrics to then actually use the new range of motion that we just temporarily gained to then actively strengthen it, okay? And so what we're doing is we're creating like tissue adaptation and progressive overload. So what we're doing is we're just trying to tell our nervous system that's okay to hang out here. We create new range of motion, and then we're going to do a thing called pails and rails. Pails and rails, I don't expect you guys to know what those are, but they're progressive and regressive angular isometric loading. They're fancy words for isometric contractions on either side of the tissue that we're challenging here. So we're going to hang out here for another minute, and then we're going to perform our first set of pails and rails. Pails and rails is literally the bread and butter of increasing range of motion in our joints and providing that biological change. That's how important these are. But the first move is the pails. The pails is I'm going to try to drive my leg out of my hands, but there is no movement that occurs. Okay, that's important to know. There is no movement that occurs. So what I'm doing is as I'm driving my foot out of my hands, but I'm not going to actually do it, we're creating tension on the underside of our tissue here, on our butt and hammies, okay? And what we do with pails is we always ramp up. Okay, we don't want to go too quick or too slow. We want to ramp up. So I'm going to coach you guys as 20% effort, so very light. We're going to try to drive out, squeeze our butt. And then we're going to climb up the number scale until we get to our max effort. This is where the handshake example comes into play, where we're creating max irradiation of our whole body trying to drive that leg out. And we're going to hold that for 15 seconds. And then immediately following that, we do what we call a rails contraction. So as I finish that contraction on my butt, I then let go of my hands, and then I'm trying to drive my knee as hard as I can to my chest, working the crease of my hip, also known as your hip flexors. We're going to hold that for 15 seconds. We're then going to grab our leg, relax everything, and we're going to get into that temporarily gained range of motion. And we're going to repeat pails and rails twice. Okay? So if you have a hard time following along, just do your best. I'll continue to coach you. It's been about 2 minutes, I'd say, so let's take a breath in. As you exhale, we're preparing our bodies here, so create tension in your abs. So draw your abs inwardly, create a little tension throughout your body. 20% of your effort, everyone, is very light. Don't jump the gun here. You're trying to drive your leg out of your hands, but no movement occurs. So what you do is you're squeezing butt stuff right now. On your own, you're climbing up the number scale. So think 21, 22, 23. I'm going to coach you in blocks of 20%, but you're still climbing up. Do not fluctuate with this. Slowly ramp it up. Think 40%, so a little bit more tension, trying to drive that leg out. Ramp it up to 60. Keep climbing up the number scale. 80%. So it should be getting a little difficult here. Everything's working. Now this is the key word. The safest, greatest effort and hold. So max effort stuff like your life depends on it. You're trying to drive your leg out of your hands, squeezing everything on the backside of that right leg. So keep working it, everyone. Keep driving, keep driving. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We immediately release. Make a fist and drive your knee to your chest as hard as you can, working the crease of your right hip. Do not fluctuate with that max effort. So this, guys, is max strength training here. Keep driving, keep driving. Even your left heel is driving down just as hard. Do not let go with it. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Immediately grab that leg and pull it in and control your breath. So we want to immediately get into slow breaths in, slower breaths out. We want to try to get that tissue to be as relaxed as possible. We want to lengthen it. Everyone hopefully should have increased range of motion, at least a degree or two. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a second set of those here in a moment, and then we'll switch legs. So the whole goal of this is we want to teach our body, our central nervous system, that's okay to be in those new ranges of motion, contract them, and then continue to increase. And over time, as we practice this, you will increase mobility in that joint. Second set, breath in, exhale, create tension in your body, 20%. Try to drive your leg forward, away from you, and you should feel right butt hamstring squeezing. Climb up the number scale, now we're at 40%. 60. 80. Safest, greatest effort again. This is max effort stuff. This is that handshake example. Everything is working here. You should be shaking everywhere. Really squeezing. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Immediately release. Fists on your hands. Drive your knee to your chest as hard as you can. Working the crease of your right hip. Keep forcing it. Keep forcing it. Everything you got for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab a hold of that. So don't come out yet. We want to now get back into that new stretch. And we want to get about 2 to 3 deep breaths. We don't want to hike out, right? We want to get into that new range of motion. Deep breath in. Slower breath out. You should feel like it's kind of sinking in a little bit deeper there. And then we're going to slowly draw it down. Shake it out if you have to. Feels a little crampy. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stay on this side, actually. And we're going to do a thing now called passive range of liftoffs. And so what this is it's another way of introducing more contraction into that joint. Okay, so this is more of a concentric. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to have our leg down, our right leg down, making fists. We're going to drive our right knee in as far as we can to that right chest. We're going to lower down. We're going to repeat that 10 times. So don't be lazy with this. You're really trying to force that right knee into its end range of motion every time. Okay? So follow my count. Lift off. Drive that knee to your chest. Squeeze it out. Lower down for 1. Lift off. Right knee to right chest. Squeeze it. Lower down. That's 2. Lift off. Drive it to your chest. Down for 3. Lift off. Drive your chest. Down for 4. Lift off. Down for 5. Lift off. Down for 6. Stay strong, everyone. Lift off. Down for 7. Force it in each time. Lift off. Down for 8. Lift off. Down for 9. Lift off. Down for 10. Great job. That's the lift off. So now we're going to do passive range holds. So this is more of an isometric contraction. We're going to pull our right knee into our chest again. So go ahead and do that. And what we're going to do here is we're going to slowly release our hand and we're going to try to hold our position there as hard as we can for only 5 seconds. We're going to do 5-second holds. So with this, a lot of times when you let go, your leg might want to spring forward. Okay, so you're trying to avoid that. And you're trying to keep your knee at its end range. If you find that when you let go, this is a great example by the way, if you let go of that right knee and you really feel a spring forward, that means you have a lot to work on in terms of your active range of motion and your passive range of motion. So passive range of motion is the ability or for an external force to hold it there. That's your hands, right? Passive range of motion will always be better than active range. And when you let go, if it really springs away, that means that you have a lot of work on that joint. You want to be as close from your active to your passive range of motion within 20 degrees. Okay? So pull that right knee in. Breath in. Exhale. Slowly release your hands. Squeeze the hip. Don't let it move for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab a hold. Pull it in a little bit deeper if you can. Ready. Squeeze that hip. Slowly release. Don't let it move for 5, 4, 3, 2, 2. Grab a hold. Bring it a little bit more. Ready. Squeeze that hip. Slowly release. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 3. Grab it. Pull it in. A couple more. Squeeze that hip. Slowly release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 4. Pull it in as much as you can as your last and best one. Slowly release. Squeeze hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 5. Slowly let it go. Woo! My hips are talking. Good. So we're going to switch to the other side. We're going to take our left knee in to your chest. Okay? So we're going to hang out here first for 2 minutes. So within our system, science has shown that if you hold a stretch, a passive stretch, in its end range of motion for 2 minutes plus, you're going to get more of a biological change. So science has done tests on different variances of spring loading, and they found that 2 minutes plus stretch is optimal for providing that biological change. So that's why we hold longer stretches in the beginning. Okay, you want to temporarily gain that new range of motion, and then we're going to add those active components. Okay, and that's why this stuff is so effective in changing your body quicker than anything else I've come across. So when you're in the long stretch, really try to get into what we call a parasympathetic breathing. So slow breath in, slower breath out, and continue to do that. Allow each exhale to be longer than the previous one. That's really important too, because the breathing really calms things down, allows for tissue to lengthen. So really focus on your breath work while you're hanging out here. Think slow breath in, slower breath out. And you'll just feel that hip kind of just let go a little bit more. So just like I mentioned before, if you have that pinching sensation on the crease of your hip, manage yourself appropriately. You're going to be best served decreasing your range of motion. I would even say too, I didn't mention this, is that even shifting your knee out to the side and pulling in might clear something there that's bothering you. That's acceptable as well. Otherwise, you just want to be in the best end range possible. Actively drive the back of your right knee down to the floor as well. Try not to let that lift up. Alright, let's do our first set of pails and rails. So remember, the pails here is that I'm going to try to drive my left leg out of my hands, but my hands are not going to allow that to happen. We're going to start with the 20%, ramp our way up, and then the rails is to drive our knee to our chest. Let's prepare our bodies. Breath in. Exhale. tension your body. Very light to start, 20%. Drive your leg away from you. Squeezing butt and hammies. Climb up the number scale on your own, 22, 23. Let's now say you're at 40%. We're ramping up. Think like a smooth crescendo. 60%. Give me 80. Safest, greatest effort, and hold. This is a max effort. Everything is working here. Right leg's driving down just as hard. You should really be shaking. That's how hard you're trying to drag your left leg out of your hands. Almost there, everyone. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Immediately let go. Drive your knee to your chest as hard as you can. Working the left of your crease hip. Drive it as hard as you can. Do not be lazy with it. Make fists with your hands. Keep driving it. Keep driving it. 5, 3, 2, 1. Immediately grab and relax. Slow breath in. Slower breath out. Something I want to mention, if you guys are experiencing any cramping at home, because obviously I can't see you all, that's totally normal. Cramping is just a stimulus that you're providing to that tissue or joint. The nervous system is not used to it, so it's just momentarily freaking out. Just know it's totally safe and normal. It happens. It's usually a sign that you're probably a little weak in that area and you need to work on it more and strengthen it. So if you do get cramping, just stretch your leg out, hit it out, bring it back in, okay? Don't be alarmed with cramping. It's just annoying. Second set of pals and rounds. Breath in. Exhale. Create tension in your body, 20%. Try to drive your left leg out of your hands. Climb up the number scale. 40. 60. 80. And crush it, everyone. Max effort. Drive that left leg out as hard as you can. Everything is working here, not just the left side. Right leg's driving down. Max body irradiation for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Immediately drive your knee to your chest. Fists. Drive those arms down to the floor. Drive the right leg. Drive that knee to your chest. Crush it. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Immediately grab. You should have more range of motion. Slow breath in. Slower breath out. Give me a couple breaths like that. And then slowly stretch it out. Good job. Hate to say it, but we got to keep working here. We got to do passive range liftoffs. We're going to do 10 of those. And then we're going to do those 5-5-second passive range holds. So remember with the liftoffs, I'm going to say liftoff. You're trying to drive your knee to your chest as hard as you can. Just for like a second or two, we lower down and repeat. Breath in. Exhale. Tension. Drive your knee. Lift off. Get to the chest. Down for 1. Lift off. Down for 2. Lift off. Down for 3. Lift off. Down for 4. Lift off. Down for 5. Lift off. Down for 6. Lift off. Down for 7. Lift off. Down for 8. Lift off. Down for 9. Lift off. Down for 10. Shake it out. Whew. Good job, everyone. We're going to do the holds next. So pull your left knee back into your chest. Find your end range. What we want to do here is we want to pre-squeeze that left hip before we let go. The goal is to not let your leg spring away. Breath in. Exhale. Squeeze that left hip. Hold. Fist. For 5. For 3. 2. 1. Grab hold. See if you can clear more range of motion. Ready. Squeeze. Release. Hold for 5. 4. 3. 2. 2. Grab a hold. Pull it in. Keep working your right leg as well. Ready. Squeeze. Release. 5. 4. 3. 2, 3. Grab it, pull it in. 2 more, ready, release, squeeze hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 4. Grab a hold. Let's make this our best one. Squeeze it, release it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 5. Let it out, shake it out. Whoo dog. Feel that. All right, we're doing great. What we're going to do here is we're going to do another set of those passive range holds, but we're only going to do 3 of them. The bad news, though, is we're going to do, actually, we're only going to do 2. I'm sorry, we're going to do 2 of these for 10 seconds. So go back to your right leg, pull it in. We're going to pull that right knee in. We're going to do 2 of these for 10-second holds. So a little bit longer. Take a breath in. Exhale. Squeeze your right hip. Do not let it spring forward. Slowly release your hands for 10. Keep driving it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Grab it. Pull it in a little bit more. 1 more of these, we switch. Ready, and drive hard for 10. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it down. Shake it out. Good. Left side, and we're done with this bent leg hip flexion. Thank God. All right. Pull that left knee in. Get to its end range. Create tension in your body. Pre-squeeze it. Ready. Hold. Drive it hard for 10. Don't be lazy with it. Keep driving it, everyone, for 5, 3, 2, 1. Grab a hold. Pull it in again. All right, ready? Last one. Squeeze it and hold. Drive it, drive it, drive it. Right leg's driving down. Give me 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let it go. Shake it out. Great job. Whew. So that's working all the hip flexor stuff. Really, really beneficial. One of my favorite setups for that. So this would be a good opportunity to get some water while I explain what we're doing next. So we're going to do a base position called a 90-90. Very popular within Kinstretch. Just getting into this position alone is really beneficial for the hips. This is where some of you have never done a 90-90. You might need a pillow, so I'll kind of show you the options. Otherwise, we're going to start with the right leg lead. And so if you have a mat at home, this is kind of nice to use the lines of your mat. So you should have a parallel line from your right shin to the front edge of your right mat, and then a parallel line from your left shin if you had a left edge mat. Ideally, what you're just trying to do is you're trying to see like a nice square in the middle of your stance here, okay? So if you had 2 90-degree angles, you had a 90-degree angle on the right knee, 90-degree angle at the left knee, and you had also 2, if you were to look down your left, you should have a straight line from your hip down to your knee. You should have a nice square, okay? But I know some of you at home may have knee discomfort, or you just can't really get into this. So this is where a pillow might help. Well, first of all, let's go to the knee. So if you have knee discomfort, let's say on the trail knee, you just kind of bend your leg. That might help, and or shift your knee forward, okay? If you have knee pain on the front, just kind of decrease the range of motion on that knee. And then if this helps you out too, you can elevate your butt with a pillow. That might get you in a little bit better 90-90 position, whatever best serves you. Otherwise, get into the 90-90 that you think you can do. And we're going to do a thing called adduction on our leg. And we're going to do pails and rails with this. Very effective on strengthening, again, more of this stuff in the inside part of our leg. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to show you, I want you to get into the first stretch. So if you had both hands on either side of your right leg, and you're trying to line up your sternum to this right knee, okay, what you want to do is I want you to think of 2 cues. So if there was like a string attached here to your sternum, someone's pulling your sternum forward, and then if someone was scooping your right butt cheek up and back, you're going to then fold over at the waist, and then you're going to find hopefully a light stretch on the outer part of your hip. Okay? Some of you might feel on the left leg. That's just because you might be really, you might have the best range of motion in an internal leg there. But just try to connect to like right hip, right leg stuff. And we're going to hang out here. While you're hanging out here, I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to be working adduction. So adduction is the ability of this knee and foot to come up, to elevate and squeeze this tissue. So that's adduction. So in this position, while you guys are holding it, what we're going to do is we're going to do a pails and rails. So pails always goes against an immovable object. So pails would be even pressure of the right knee and right ankle going down to the table. So I'm like going down evenly into the table, or floor, I mean. And we're going to ramp it like we normally do, right, to our max effort. And then the rails will be, we might have to lean back for this one. We're then going to try to lift our right knee and foot off to where we're trying to bring both positions up as if we're leveling something, like when we were trying to raise up like a glass of water. Try not to spill it. For some of you, you might not be able to do this like I did, where I'm leaning up. So some of you might need assistance with props. So this is where like the block might come in handy. Maybe you're propped out here, and then you can do it, get the lift off. Okay, so you just have to find the strategy that best serves you. So maybe you're posted out here a little bit more and leaning back to get a lift off. Whatever best serves you. So at home, why don't you guys go and try that. Try to lift up the right knee and foot up as one unit and find the position that you're going to have to get into in order to do that. Now, I will tell you, really challenge yourself. Don't lean back and get a big lift off. That's not what we're trying to achieve. We're still trying to achieve like deep end range motion stuff. So we're really just trying to lift up this portion of the leg enough for like a hand or like a credit card to swipe under. So we're not looking for a big lift off, okay? If you are doing a big lift off, challenge yourself back into that end range stretch. Once you've found wherever your lift off is, get back into that end range stretch. And then in 30 seconds, we're going to do our first pails. So the pails, just to remind you, is we're going to be lowering the underside of this leg down into the floor, even pressure. That's going to be squeezing the underside of your right leg. And then the rails is then to find that position, lift off, squeezing the top tissue. So you can see where the pails works the bottom side of the tissue, rails works the top side. So let's do this. Let's take a breath in. We exhale, prepare your bodies again. So 20%, very light to start. The underside of your knee and ankle here are going down. Think even pressure, as if there's a scale there. And then you're going to slowly ramp up. Think now 40%. Pressure's going in. Think 60. Think 80. Safest, greatest effort, and hold. So if I write in your homes, I'm trying to lift your leg up, I shouldn't be able to. That's how hard you're driving your leg down. Max effort. Even your left leg, remember, is driving down just as hard. Keep holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to do our rails contraction. So find that position where you can just barely hover the right knee and foot up and go. Rails contraction. You should be feeling the inner part of your right thigh stuff. Keep fighting for it. Some of you at home might cramp. That's fine, but keep going, keep going. Force it up. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Soften down. Whew. Slow breaths in, slower breaths out. We want to immediately get back into our end range stretch. If you guys cramped, obviously you know who you are. Just stretch it out. Get back into your end range stretch. You should have a little bit more range of motion here, folding over. Think of those 2 cues, sternum up and forward, tailbone up and back. Whew. We're going to do one more set of these. We're kind of running out of time, so I want to be courteous to your guys' time. Let's get through this. Take a breath in. Exhale, tension, abs drawn in, 20%. Underside of the knee and foot, even pressure going down, 20 to start. Ramp it up to 40. Ramp it up to 60. Give me 80. Safest, greatest effort, and crush it. Crush it down like you're trying to leave an imprint of that leg down on the floor or mat, whatever you're on. Keep driving down. Keep driving down. Left leg's working hard for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails contraction. Find the position. Just barely hover the floor and lift off. There's a 15-second hold. You can do it, everyone. Keep lifting up, keep lifting up. Keep fighting for it. Don't let it drop. Keep working for 3, 2, and 1. Soften down. Whew. So, we center up. We lean forward into it. Great job, everyone. Good job. So now we're going to do hip hinges. I love these. These are essentially hip openers. If you think about it, if you guys have a pillow or a tennis ball at home, a lot of us make the mistake of lifting up our right knee now. So what we're going to do is we're going to place an object underneath our right knee. It doesn't need to be real thick, okay? Maybe even a shoe, just enough to give you some good feedback of that underside of your right knee not lifting up. This is now where if you have a pillow or a block, you can place it behind you. That might help you. Just kind of position yourself. But in this 90-90, what we're going to do is we're going to open up this hip. So for those of you at home that don't know your ball of your foot, this is the ball of your foot, okay? We're going to pivot on the ball of the foot, not on the heel. It's going to provide more rotation in that leg. So we're going to open up. Just go ahead and do that at home. So we're propped here, right? Open up that left hip, pivoting on the ball of your left foot. Keep your right knee down the object. You're going to find your end range pretty quick. And then try to force it. Try to get a little bit more range of motion. Hold it for 3, 2, 1. Softly place back down. We're going to do 4 more. Ready and open. Pivot on the ball of your left foot. Open up that hip. Hold it. 3, 2, 2. Place down. The goal of this is to get more range of motion and open up. Try to get a little bit more range of motion each time. 3, 2, 3. Reset. 2 more. And open. Get a little bit more. 3, 2, 4. Reset. Last one. Make this your best one. And open up. Pivot on the ball of your foot. Keep your right knee down. Open it for 3, 2, 3. Reset. Good job, everyone. We're going to switch to the other side. We're going to go left leg lead. Right leg is the trail leg. Try to find your square. Now at home, again, one hip might feel completely different than the other hip because in this position, this lead leg is in an externally rotated position. The trail leg is an internal rotation. So some of you might have one side that's higher in internal or external. So again, it's just a story about yourself. You might need to be propped up a little bit differently here or not. So just adjust yourself accordingly. Nice square, straight line from your right hip to your right knee. 2 90-degree angles at the knee. Both hands on either side of your left leg. Tall spine. Your chest, your sternum's going up and forward. Scoop your tailbone up and back. Find your end range. We're going to hang out here for a little bit. And then this is where we're going to do the adduction of this left leg. So this is where even pressure of the underside of our knee and foot go down. And then we do, it's coming up evenly for the rails contraction. When we're in this position, remember, slow breaths in, slower breaths out. Settle into it. We're not going to hold this one as long because I want to still get through everything. So I want you guys at home to try to find your end range on your rails contraction. So if you were to lift the leg up, so lean back if you have to, or prop out to the side, can you just barely hover the floor? And that's what we're looking for. Okay? So go and find that. That's where your rails contraction setup's going to be. Okay? We're going to go back to the initial stretch. Let's do our pails. Breath in. Exhale. Brace your abs. 20% light to start. Underside of the knee and foot go down to start. You should feel tension in the outer part of your left hip. Ramp it up to 40. So climb up the number scale. Everyone, smooth crescendo going up. Think 60%. Tension does not fluctuate. It just gets harder and harder. 80. Right leg is driving down just as hard. Safest, greatest effort, and crush it. Max effort. Everything is trying to drive the bottom part of that leg down like you're trying to leave an imprint of it. Keep crushing it. Keep crushing it. Keep driving your right knee down too for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rails contraction. Find your setup. Knee and foot come up evenly. Hold. Right there. 15 seconds. If you're trying to scoop your left arch up, that kind of helps too. Scoop it up. Hold it. Give me 5, 3, 2, 1. Soften down and breathe. Back to that initial stretch. Great job, everyone. Slow breath in, slower breath out. Sternum up and forward. Scoop your tailbone up and back. You should be able to fold over that lead leg a little bit further. We're going to go in 15 seconds. We're going to go a little bit quicker with this. We don't need a long break here. Guys, you're doing good. We're almost done. Let's go right into it. Breath in. Exhale. Create that tension. 20%. Bottom half of that leg goes down into the floor. Squeezing outer part of your left butt and leg. Ramp it up to 40. And 60. 80. And crush it. Everything's working here. Tension your arms. You're corkscrewing those palms in the ground. Driving your right knee down. Strong as you can. Drive that leg down. Good. For 5, for 3, 2, 1. Let's do our rails contraction. Lift off. There you go. Lift off. Some of you might notice that you're coming a little higher. Scoop that left arch. Work hard here. This is our last pels and rails. Keep driving up. Keep driving up. For 5, 3, 2, 1. Soften down. Slow breath in. Slower breath out. Get back to that initial stretch. You want to take advantage of that. Remember, don't just hike out. So think of those 2 cues. Tall spine, right? You got sternum up and forward, tailbone up and back. Good job. We're going to do our hip hinges on our right side. So this is where we might need a block or something behind us. So we're going to rotate our upper body towards our right leg. You're going to pivot on your right foot, the ball of the foot. We're going to open up the hip. Take an object underneath your left knee to give you good feedback of not letting that lift off. We're going to do 5 3-second holds. Ready, and pivot on the ball of your right foot. Open up that right hip. Keep your left knee down. Find your end range and hold it for 3, 2, 1. Reset. And open. Each time we do this, we try to go a little further. Open it up for 3, 2, 2. And open. 3, 2, 3. 2 more, everyone. Ready and open. Pivot. Open. Find it for 3, 2, 4. One more. Open. Pivot. Find your end range. Force it a little bit more for 3, 2, 5. Reset. Great job, everyone. We're pretty much done with all that hard hip stuff. What I like to do after we do all that hip stuff, I like to reinforce the hip cars, because the hip cars are really good, expanding more range of motion. It's always good to reinforce more rotation if possible. So we're going to do the hip cars exactly like we did in the beginning of the class. So you're going to be in a sideline position. Maybe have something to prop your head up. Let's do right hip first. All right, so we got that imaginary rod, remember? Going down. Clasp hands. We're going to do 2 of these, nice and slow and controlled. Good effort with your upper body. Draw your knee to your chest. Draw your knee up towards the ceiling. Don't spill your hips back. Rotate your hip so the heel goes up towards the ceiling. Squeeze, drive back. Circle it down to your bottom knee and reverse. Press back. Elevate. Into your chest. Down and around. Again. In. Up. Hip rotates. Drive it back. Squeeze it. Circle down and reverse. Press back. Elevate. Into chest. down and around. Switch sides. 2 on the left hip. Clasp hands. Pull the knees in. Knee to chest. Elevate. Hip rotates. Drive it back. Squeeze it out. Circle. Reverse. Press back. Elevate. In your chest. And one more time. In. Up. Try to expand upon it. Slowly press back. You guys should definitely feel like this hip car is better than when you did it in the beginning routine. Things are opening up, hopefully, for you. Up and in, around. Great job. Okay, so I was going to do some more stuff, but we don't have enough time. We're going to go right into breathing. A lot of us, again, like I mentioned in the beginning of the class, whether it's good or bad stress, there's a lot of stress going on. So we're going to do more of a down-regulating type of breathing. This is best served just lying on your back. But if you guys have a breath practice at home, and maybe you like to do your breath practice here, whatever breath practice you do and position you like, go ahead and do that. Otherwise, I would say for most of us, just lie on your back. So go ahead and do that at home, and I'm going to coach you through this. So what we want to do is on our back, we just want to let all the tension leave our body, and we're going to do a down-regulating breath work. So what it is we're only going to breathe through our nose. Instead of exhaling out of the mouth, it's all nasal. So if you guys have ever kind of used deep throat stuff and like kind of fogged a mirror, or like when you're trying to hawk a loogie, it's deep stuff here. So this will allow you to be more successful. So if you just lie down, close your eyes, and take the inhale through the nose, and think deep throat stuff as you exhale. That will allow you to draw that exhale out a little bit longer. So continue to do the inhale through the nose, exhale with deep throat stuff. Should be more successful for you. So what I want you to do is the exhale should be longer than the inhale. So as you're trying to connect to that, in a moment I am going to give you guys a count system, and then I'll let you go on your own, and that will finish the class there. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 5 count of an inhale. So I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we'll do a 6 count of an exhale. And then I'll slowly extend those exhales out to probably like an 8 count. If you're unable to keep up with a higher count, like an 8 count, do what best serves you. This is not designed to stress you out, that to try to keep up with my count. Do what best serves you in terms of your inhales and exhales. Some of you may not have as long of an exhale. The other thing I want to mention too before we dive in while you're relaxing into your breath work right now is that a lot of us, we overuse our breathing accessory muscles, which is our chest, our shoulders, our neck, our face. I really want you to connect to what we have is called our diaphragm. Our diaphragm is our breathing muscle. It's underneath our rib cage. As you take a breath in, the reason why your belly rises is because you're trying to create space for your diaphragm as it lowers down. And then as you exhale with the nose, the diaphragm has to reset back up, and that's where the belly then shrinks back to its original position. So as you're focusing on your breath work, really focus on the belly rising first as opposed to chest. So really connect to the belly. Kind of think of it like three-dimensional, like a balloon. So it expands like a balloon, front, sides, and back. As you exhale, it all shrinks back to that original position. Okay. There's a lot of other detailed ways of doing this, but we're going to keep it pretty simple for today. Let's go right into it. So we're going to take a breath into the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, deep throat stuff for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale through the nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out, deep throat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A little bit longer now. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale a little longer for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale a little longer for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and do that on your own count. We're going to hang out here for over a minute. Just really try to relax into it. Try not to be stressed on the length or the duration of your breath. See what is going to relax you the most. Keeping everything in your nose, nasal breathing. Okay, so that's the end of the class. Resume your normal breaths, guys. That is a great way of breathing at any time of the day, really. If you have those moments to yourself, especially at night in bed, really focusing on those inhales and exhales. I am going to be launching a Kinstretch membership. It's an online deal. I'm going to be launching it April 1st, which I think is Wednesday. So I'm really excited about that. So what it's going to entail is it's going to be 2 pre-recorded Kinstretch classes about this length, and I'll probably have 1 or 2 classes where they're live like this added to the membership. I'll have some bonus stuff to it too. So if you guys are interested and you dug what we did, you can check out my website. It will have all the information. It's going to be johnnychambersfitness.com. Look it up. I also do one-on-one training too for assessments of your joints. If you guys need help with that, I'm here to help you out. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoy the class. Thanks for joining me, and have a great rest of your weekend, and cheers.